Many people enter exercise with apprehension about pain, performance, or simply not being good enough. But over time, some of those same people begin to crave movement, thriving in the very spaces that once intimidated them. The difference often lies in confidence, not as a static trait, but as a learned state that fundamentally reshapes how the brain interprets physical challenge. Emerging neuroscience reveals that growing self-belief doesn't just change motivation, it rewires the brain's chemical response to stress, creating a shift from fear toward flow. The more capable we feel, the less threatened we become by intensity, and the more likely we are to access rewarding states of presence and ease during effort. At the neurochemical level, confidence has a regulatory effect on how we respond to physical stress. When we feel uncertain or anxious about our capacity to perform, the brain primes itself for threat. The amygdala, our brain's emotional alarm center, activates rapidly, increasing levels of cortisol and heightening physical sensations like breathlessness, tension, or discomfort. These symptoms can feed a loop of avoidance. If every workout feels like a stress test, it's no wonder some people dread returning. But confidence acts as a buffer. It calms the brain's stress circuits and instead engages the prefrontal cortex, the region involved in planning, control, and perspective. When we feel capable, whether from prior success or constructive feedback, we reframe the same physical sensations as signals of strength, not danger. Cortisol levels drop, dopamine and noradrenaline begin to rise, and the brain starts shifting into a more optimal zone for performance. This is the entry point to what psychologists call the flow state, a mental zone where challenge and skill are perfectly matched and action feels effortless. In flow, the default mode network, associated with self-criticism and overthinking, goes quiet, while regions responsible for sensory processing and motor coordination become more synchronized. The brain floods with neurochemicals like anandamide, a mood-enhancing endocannabinoid, serotonin, which stabilizes mood, and endorphins, natural painkillers. These compounds don't just feel good, they actively reduce the perception of physical strain. The more frequently someone accesses this state, the more the brain learns to associate exercise with pleasure, not punishment. Importantly, positive reinforcement plays a key role in establishing this pattern. Each time an individual completes a difficult workout, receives encouraging feedback, or simply notices improvement, the brain strengthens its internal reward systems. Dopamine spikes signal that the behavior was valuable and worth repeating. Over time, confidence becomes not just a belief, but a chemically supported feedback loop. Success leads to reinforcement, which builds motivation, which fuels more success. The beauty of this process is that it's trainable. Confidence doesn't need to come from extreme accomplishments. It can build from incremental progress. Setting small, achievable goals, tracking visible improvements, and practicing self-compassion in the face of setbacks all stimulate the brain's reward circuits without triggering anxiety. Each tiny win tells the brain, "You can do this." And with repetition, the fear circuits begin to quiet down. What's more, social support amplifies this process. When athletes or everyday exercisers feel seen and supported by coaches, friends, or even digital communities, oxytocin levels increase, reinforcing trust and emotional safety. That further dampens cortisol and enhances the brain's readiness to engage in physical challenge without emotional overload. Confidence isn't about ego, it's about agency. It gives us the psychological and neurochemical flexibility to interpret the same sensations, burning legs, rapid breath, racing heart, as empowering rather than threatening. And as that reinterpretation takes root, the door to flow opens more easily. Discomfort becomes data, not danger. Effort becomes immersion. Stress becomes signal. And the once dreaded workout becomes an invitation to discover what your brain and body can really do. In this way, the journey from fear to flow is not a mental trick, but a biological transformation. With patience, practice, and the right feedback, anyone can retrain their brain's chemistry to lean into effort with confidence. It's not about eliminating difficulty, it's about learning to meet it with a different internal chemistry. And that shift, once in motion, makes the entire experience of exercise not just more sustainable, but profoundly more enjoyable.